Hey, welcome back to Comedy Pinata. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, we're here live from Zanies in Nashville with our good friend and regular, Mr. Reno Collier. But Reno, did you know that car possession is on the rise?
Tell me about it, Steve.
Did you know you also have every right to stop a repo guy from taking your car?
Had no idea.
Consumers have broad rights to stop a car repossession from happening, and that is where the law firm at Sue the Collector can help you. If your car is about to be repossessed or the car was repossessed and you verbally told them to stop and leave your car alone, were physically hurt or injured by the repo agent, or they took the wrong car altogether, you may have a case. The attorneys at Sue the Collector specialize in wrongful car possession and can help you or your loved one. If you or your loved one were injured, valuables lost, wrongfully had your car repossessed, call us now, 1-877-BAD-REPO, 1-877-BAD-REPO. Again, 1-877-BAD-REPO.
Sue the Collector.
How you been doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. Just knocking it out on the road.
Hitting the road, huh?
Yeah.
How's the road been treating you lately?
It's been good, man. I'm only going out on Fridays and Saturdays, so.
Oh, God, that's great.
Yeah, it's been good. Plugging along.
Have you been asked by any of the venues to do radio again? Because post-COVID, right, nobody was doing radio anymore. I've done a handful of markets where you show up and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to pick you up tomorrow at 6. You're like, what the fuck? Is that still, do you get a sneaky radio spot in there every now and then?
Not in a while. It's been so weird, like with radio. Right. I mean, and if you do it, unless you're doing a syndicated show or something, you go in and there's like 2 people in the whole, and it's all empty. Right. And it feels weird. Yeah. Like
the offices are scant and vacant.
Yeah. I think radio people, they'll ride out that COVID. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not.
A lot of them have built their own studios in their homes,
right?
Like the big ones.
Yeah.
And just say, I'm not leaving my house anymore. And why would you?
Right.
It's weird how that was a staple for so many years, doing radio, because you would be forced to do radio. It was part of the gig.
Yep.
And before social media, you had to do radio because that was the other outlet. Like the responsibility was on the clubs to pack in the room, so they would pay the radio stations. And now the responsibility is on us.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
It's like you do the show and you sell the tickets, and you promote it, and it's just the game's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And then you have guys who can sell out a show who have no act, and it's like, which one do you want? Sometimes you can get both.
Where do we start?
But a lot of
listen to names.
A lot of the
minute you say it, I'm like, oh, bing, 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 bing.
Oh yeah, and it's like this guy sold out 8 shows, and then you watch it and you go, we're doomed.
Yeah, well,
we're doomed.
To your point, I think that there's a lot of comics out there right now. Well, a lot of people that are successful on the road that are better podcasters than they are comedians.
Right.
And I know there's like YouTube sensations. There's a part of me like I don't mind you cashing in. Like, who wouldn't, right? Strike while the iron's hot. Your agent calls you, going to put you in comedy clubs. You can make XYZ amount over the course of a few days. It's like, look, you're 22. Who wouldn't turn that down?
Oh, absolutely.
Do that. But I think that now with the advent of podcasts and all of us almost being forced to do them, there are comics that do this that are being rewarded that were never anointed by the industry prior to. And I don't know. There's part of me. It's like maybe there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to also in that they're backing someone who can provide a good narrative, which is good, but they're also backing somebody they feel has the potential. But I don't know. Lately, I see some of these tour dates and looking at them and stuff. I'm like, maybe I should just call it a day.
Yeah. Well, because
I worked so hard at being a comic,
Right. And we all did. Yeah. And every time I say something about some kid, I'm like, you are so old. Like, have you really turned into that dude where you're like, these kids and the thing and get out of my grass? But I talked to a predominant booker, and I don't want to say his name, but we were having this conversation, and he goes, Reno, here's the deal. Comedy clubs have gotten beaten for a long time. And if we can put asses in the seats and fill it up, we could have a conversation about whether it's legitimate or not, and that's a real conversation. But when it comes down to numbers, if it's going to sell out my venue, I'm going to put them in there.
Always.
And it's and that's fair. I mean, I get that. If I owned the comedy club, I'd be like, look, man, pull in that guy who does a podcast on the difference between monkeys and cats. And if everybody shows up, I mean, you're trying to fill a building. It's just that for guys like us who came up, like, you work your ass off and you build this and you get to this point and you make sure no one can follow you and you blow them off the stage and you kill every night. it's like, well, that's great, but
yeah, they don't want to have. And look, it's a business.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So if you're a club owner, you have a choice between making 50 grand,
right?
Well, you know, a show from ticket revenue, or even more, or having a great act in there. You're going to make 10 grand.
10 grand,
it's
right?
Like, yeah, you don't want to cut staff. You want to maximize everything. Of course, they're going to make that decision.
Yeah,
you would hope that they would, you know, but I think every now and then they throw in some of their favorites along the way.
Yeah.
And
well, we're still working. I mean, my wife is always like, what age do you think you'll retire? And I'm like, in comedy, you don't retire. You get retired.
Yeah.
But you don't just go, you know, at 60, I'm just going to take it easy. I'm never going to stop doing this until I'm
you
dead.
get a sheet cake and everybody comes over and says,
right,
thank
gold
you,
watch.
You did great.
Yeah. State Farm has just been so good to me and my family, and look at that. It's a Timex. There's none of that.
Yeah,
you know?
It's the Go Bananas watch. Just the bananas ticking around. Yeah.
Yeah. The time's off. Yeah. There's like smeared, you know what I mean?
2 minutes before every hour, you get a red light on the thing that comes up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about that often because you know, I feel like I'm at the midpoint in my career. But if something happened tomorrow and like blew it out, and you know, I got a show that just, you know, took off like a rocket, I'd stop.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Because even when you're doing theaters or, you know, I did an arena tour in the UK with friends. I was opening for them, and I was exposed to that lifestyle. And I was telling my wife recently, like on those theater gigs, it's weird. Like you're going to a market, right? And you're going in front of 2,000, 3,000 people, and there's a spotlight that hits you, and you can't see shit. And you know that there's like 3,000, but you don't even see them.
Right.
There's a spot on you. And there's a little bit of background. You could see maybe 2 rows in front of you distinctly. And then it just gets really dark. And you roll in, you walk into the theater, you get your cup of coffee or whatever, you do your thing, you walk out, you do your set, they applaud, you walk off, and then you're backstage, and then the venue's like, all right, you got to leave in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it is, and then you're out in the city, and it's like, was I even here?
Dude, I know.
You know what I mean? It's the weirdest feeling in the world.
Arenas are the worst.
You don't feel connected. I don't know.
No.
There's just not a connection, even though you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you're modulating and going with the ebbs and flows of the energy in the room. It's still like, I don't know, like when you're in this, and it's very intimate, obviously, there's a genuine connect, because you can see everybody, you can read everybody, and the minute the joke bombs or hits, it's right there.
Yeah, dude, when I did that arena tour with Foxworthy and those guys and Cable Guy, there'd be a Jumbotron, like the Boston Garden. There's a Jumbotron. People spent $250 for a ticket in the front row, and they're like this.
Yeah.
They're watching you, and you're like, I'm not even doing a show. There's no connection.
Yeah.
Like you can try to connect with the first 2 rows. Theaters, about 1,000 to 2,000 people are the best.
Right.
I think. A comedy club's the best. But when you get into 7, 8, 10, 12, 20,000, we did a show for 60,000 people at the Nebraska football stadium.
Yeah.
You're not doing a show. People are watching you.
You're on a stage, and you're right. There's times that everybody's been to a concert. You go to a concert, it's like, why am I watching the screen when I could be watching Paul McCartney right there? But I'm not watching Paul McCartney because I want to see his close-up, so I'm going to watch that. And then you're sitting there going, I could just watch this at home.
Dude, it's like a ventriloquist in an arena. Everybody's a good ventriloquist in an arena. Nobody can see your freaking mouth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people go, oh, man, I'm not going to say anybody's name. I saw this, and it's like, you can't even, if he's like, hey, what are you doing? It doesn't really matter.
Hold on, I like how you say, I'm not going to say his name. It's like, oh, there's 2 names. There's 2 names, okay, dude?
And they're both the same person's name. I got nothing against them. It's like the YouTube thing. People pay to see it or whatever. But it's like, you know, we're sitting half a mile away, and it's like, that is the best ventriloquist I've ever seen in my life. It's like, of course he is. You can't even see his head.
Yeah, it's like magic. There's no, like Copperfield, I think is the exception, right? But everybody's a good magician in a room.
Yeah, but if you're doing card tricks and somebody's, you know, 3/4 of a mile, did you see? I didn't even see where the card went. You couldn't even see his body. There was nothing you could see. You didn't see anything. A little white blob at the bottom. All right, let's get into this. Sorry, dude.
Sorry. No, please.
And no offense to the
All right.
puppets.
Comic number 1. Oh, we were just, okay, Jeff Foxworthy. Any thoughts on Jeff?
I spent a lot of years touring with him. Very good guy. One of those dudes where I don't know if you've ever seen any of his older stuff. Just blew the doors. Dude, this special was hysterical. I sold more comedy albums than Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby put together. I mean, what do I think every joke he's ever told is funny? Maybe not, but have I seen 20,000 people laugh at every single joke he said night after night?
Yeah.
But as a comic, I'm jaded anyway. You know, where I'm like, and jealous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How in the hell
did you
you get away with that? And then I'm up there going, what do you know? You're too dumb to get me? You know what I mean? But I think the guy marketing, everything he's done turned to gold.
Yeah.
Like, and at the end of the day, really solid, nice guy. Talks about his kids and his wife and all that. Backstage, he is what you see. I mean, when we toured together, I could order whatever I wanted, and every night it was a bucket of chicken. And do I have time to tell a story?
Oh, yeah.
This is so funny.
I was just going to ask you.
This dude Glenn used to travel with him.
Don't tell this one.
Okay.
I'm joking.
So, Jeff doesn't really drink or anything, but Glenn and I'd get Glenn riled up and drinking and whatever. And so every night, a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, coleslaw, mashed potatoes. So Glenn would take the skin off the chicken and then fill it with coleslaw, the skin, roll the skin up. I got to tell you, it sounds weird, really delicious. Okay. But he'd eat it like that, and it would give him these rancid farts, right? And he was like, fart. So Jeff would be like, dude, do not eat the chicken skin and the coleslaw if you're going to fly on the plane with me, because the plane is like a tube this big, and there's no air. So Glenn's like, nah, man, Glenn doesn't do that anymore. You know, that's old Glenn. That's old Glenn. This is a new Glenn. New Glenn doesn't drink with Reno, and new Glenn doesn't eat
puts the coleslaw and wraps around the chicken skin.
Takes
That's what New Glenn does.
So we got into some beers or whatever, and he's sneaking around eating food, and they're on the plane flying back, and Glenn's sitting there. He's had a couple drinks, and he rips one, and Jeff's like, damn it. He's like, what are you doing, Glenn? And Glenn's sitting there like half asleep drunk. He's like, damn you, old Glenn. And Jeff said the whole flight is just like, oh, God. And he's just sitting there laughing in it. You know what I mean?
That is Oh, old Glenn, new Glenn, we love you.
Old Glenn.
Watch Little Foxworthy. That is fucking hilarious.
I can't even work the damn headphone. There we go.
There we go.
Using designated drivers, I think this is a good program, you know. Anything's safer than the way we used to do it. Hey, dude, get up. Give us a ride home, man. Oh, God, I think he threw up, Tony. Come on, what do you say? We'll buy you a beer. Come on. The only problem with the designated driver program, it's not a desirable job. I mean, because basically you're just babysitting people whose biggest ambition is to pee in the parking lot or something. But if you get talked into doing it, have fun with it. Like at the end of the night, drop them off at the wrong damn house. Preferably in their boss's front yard or something. Huh? Where the hell are my flamingos? But don't drink and drive, it's not funny. I know this as a kid. I was a little kid. I was riding on the front seat of the car with my dad, and he had been drinking beer all day long, and we got pulled over by the highway patrol. And the officer walked up to my dad's window, and he went, "Excuse me there, sir. Could I see your license, please?" "No, sir, I don't need a cold beer. I don't think you do either." "Mr. Foxworthy, do you know why I pulled you over, sir?" "Well, it concerns that vehicle you're pulling behind you." "No, sir, it's not against the law to tow a boat, but we do require you put it on a trailer." "Could you ask your friends to get out of the boat, please, sir?" "No, sir, I don't give a damn if the fish are biting. Could you ask your friends to get out of the boat?" And hell, you dropped your skier about a mile back there. You guys are a good crowd. I'm not even going to ask who's single and who's married, because married people can't clap as loud. The chain only goes this far, you know. I think out of the two groups, I think single people probably have the toughest life. Just the word single itself, you know, S-I-N-G-L-E. Stay intoxicated nightly, get laid every day.
That's old school 90s.
And
Late
single
80s.
life is hard, too. All that raising hell, staying out late, you know. And you know you're out too late because you come home and there's 2 white guys boxing on ESPN. That's late.
All right. Dude, first of all, him at Rodney's in New York City, right? Like, you got to think back in those days, there wasn't people like him in New York City.
No.
And you know other comics were like, what the hell? Dude, this is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. So I guess one night at Caroline's, it was, and I wasn't there, but I've heard the story. It was Vic Henley went up.
Right.
Real Southern,
great
guy.
Passed,
yeah, hilarious comic. Then Engvall. Then right after him was Foxworthy. All in a row. And so we can never, no one knows who the comic was, but the comic that went up after all 3 of them goes, he was from New York, and he's like, hey, let me show you my impression of every comedian you've seen so far tonight. Hey, y'all, I just got done taking a big old shit. Dude.
It's like Vic D. Potato or something.
Yeah,
like that.
somebody just. But if you think about what when you think about those guys,
I'm just like instantly in the back of the comedy club, dying.
Hey y'all, I just got done taking a big old shit. Like that sticks in my head. But you know for those guys, for those guys being in New York, I mean, that's fish out of water stuff. Where like you don't, it's like it's like cramming a square into a circle.
That's, I mean, to have 3 Southern comics back to back to back.
And then get followed by some guy from New York. Who's in the back like, why is anybody paying attention to these guys?
Where the fuck am I? The New Yorkers saying, where the fuck am I in New York?
Right. What is happening to our...
That is so fucking funny. But Jeff, I mean, that's the great thing about watching Jeff is that you watch that today and it's still evergreen. It's still as great today, clean.
Yep.
Textured, layered. I mean, the one thing you could say is, where the flamingos in my yard go, that was a sign of, in the 80s, people stuck flamingos in their lawns. And with him, too. Great tag.
I started at the Punchline in Atlanta. Like, I worked the door and the kitchen and all that stuff. Yeah. And he was a god in Atlanta at that time in the mid to late 90s. Oh, huge, man. And watching him work through material, it was methodical, and it was just, he's like, he's a machine, dude. Right. Like, just bing, 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 bing. And when you talk about people loving an entertainer, people love him. Like, I mean, he'll get stuck in a Chick-fil-A for 3 hours signing stuff, and he stays. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy who's like, he's like a NASCAR. Like, yeah, man, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for supporting me. Yeah. Real good dude. That's and he kills, man. Like, he really... And he's got a rhythm and the voice going up and you know what I mean? Hey y'all, I just got done taking a big old shit. I know, it's so stupid, but it's so funny.
All right, obviously we love Foxworthy.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is.
Love Lenny Clarke.
All right, Lenny Clarke out of Boston, right?
Yep.
One of the classic old school monsters of like A&E's, Caroline's Comedy Hour, Evening at the Improv. He was just a staple on all those things. Had a great film career, and
he's still in stuff, man. I still see him pop up and stuff.
All right, let's see Lenny Clarke.
All right, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, thank you very, very much. How's everyone doing? Y'all have a good day? Yeah, my day sucked too. It's okay. I'm not like a lot of these guys you see on TV. Hi, hello, how are you? What a nice-looking crowd. Funny thing happened to me today. Nothing fucking funny happened to me today. I'm lying in bed around 7 o'clock this morning. I get in around 6:55, so I'm fighting for sleep. Wife comes bouncing into bed, says, come on, Lenny, it's nice out. Let's go out and play, because she likes that. She's young. She's 15. Well, in a couple of months. But I said, honey... I said, I don't want to play. She said, what do you want to do? I said, why don't we have a couple of beers and watch some cartoons on TV? You're going to drink in the morning? I hate you when you drink. I said, good, because I hate you when I'm not drinking. This marriage is a lot of work, folks. I had no idea. I've been married about 3 years now. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be simple, like, I'm home, dear, assume the position. Oh! No. Oh. There's a lot more to marriage than that, isn't it? There's loving and caring and hugging and lying and... Oh, good God. You know, hey, I'm glad. Because I married a woman. Did I tell you that right up front? I want to let you know. Because I love women. Women are probably the #1 reason why I'm not a homosexual today. Okay, I blew one guy, but I needed a ride real bad. Ah, you're great. I'm kidding you. I'm teasing you, folks. I didn't need the ride. See, the thing is... I couldn't be a homo if I wanted to because of my religion. You see, I'm a Catholic. Any Catholics here? Ah, great. Anybody used to be Catholic? Yeah! See, growing up as a Catholic was not that much fun for me. I didn't have that kind of fun. We didn't get to smoke. We didn't get to have sex. See, I was a victim of child abuse, folks. That's right. I did 9 years in a Catholic grammar school with nuns. For those of you who don't know what nuns are, nuns were fat little broads who never get laid, so they dress up like penguins and beat the piss out of kids like me. Oh. See, they taught me how to pray, and pray I do every time I fly. Because I hate to fly, ladies and gentlemen, I really do. Not because of plane crashes, don't get me wrong, I'm not a wimpy type guy.
Transition.
Plane crashes don't scare me for 3 very good reasons. I drink, I owe money, and I'm married. I go down in a plane crash, I'm up about $3 million, and I'm going to have the best nap I've ever wanted in my life. What scares me are these Shiite Muslim terrorist bastards. Any of them in here tonight? They must all live at the airport. I mean, now look, Abdul, here's one with keys. Come on. Now, this is a funny thing. These guys, these terrorist guys, they steal a plane worth millions of dollars. I can understand it. Then they blow it up, and they blame it on their religion. Now, who is this guy, Allah, and what has he got against airplanes? I mean, Jesus Christ was nailed to a cross. I don't flip out every time I get near wood. Come on, what's the connection?
Dude, you know...
Now, come on.
Come on.
He is steamrolling you into the... Oh, that's so funny.
And you can smell the booze and the party. He and Kenny Rogerson and those guys. I used to party with those dudes at the Punchline back before. That's why I wanted to become a comic. Because the guys like Lenny Clarke and Kenny and those Boston, like, you know, like, just, and they'd go on stage and that energy and that old school, I don't give a, it doesn't matter what I say, you know, I'm going after it. I love Lenny Clarke.
I love Lenny Clarke too. And you know, it's funny because you watch this and knowing what we know now, you could go to any cruise ship right now and you'll see a version of that.
Yeah.
But he was that before it all. He was like, this is like the template for virtually every cruise ship comic you see. I'd say at least like 60% of them or 70% of them. It's just this rapid fire, quick kind of setup punch, classic old school joke telling, really fun. There's bravado there. I don't know. Look, he's one of the first to kind of do that. I mean, there's that style, right?
Right.
But he's one of the best at it.
Yeah, and the thing, you know, him waking up and drinking a beer and that's real. Like, he's totally clean now. But I mean, that partying atmosphere, especially, there's a documentary about those guys in Boston.
Oh, I'd see.
That's really good.
It came out like 15 years ago.
Yeah. But those guys blew it out hard. You know what I mean?
Think about Boston. Why does Boston produce so many fantastic comics? I mean, Rogan, Dane Cook, Patrice O'Neill, keep going down the line, and then the old school comics that all came out of there. There's something in the water. They all come out of there, and then they come to New York. I don't know. I think that
they have a chip on their shoulder. I think coming to New York.
Yeah.
You know, like proud of Boston. That's a town people are proud to be from.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a lot of, you know, all the. That's a long time ago, but the Irish immigrants and all the immigrants, you know, that came in and were tough people. Yeah. And it's kind of still in the blood of the, I think.
Yeah, just an underdog kind of. That's why I think some of the best comics are out of Canada because they're not the States, or Jersey because they're not from New York.
Yeah.
Boston because they're not from New York. I don't know. It's rare.
Or Smyrna because they're not from Nashville.
That's right. Yeah. All right, number 3. Man,
hack.
Mount Rushmore. This is my George Washington.
Dude, I don't know that he's not George Washington on any comic who.
It has to be.
Unless you have unless you're doing puppets.
Don't say his name though.
Don't will.
Okay, here we go. Richard Pryor.
Snow down here sometime.
New Orleans.
No, see, y'all spoiled, see. Y'all don't know about that cold and shit back like up in Illinois where I'm from. See, y'all get some cold. I guess it get cold here, get 50. Yeah. Y'all get mad in the mother. See, you know it's 50 outside, man. Shit. It fucked up my day. Shit. Back there, man, in Chicago in the Midwest, boy, it gets cold. I'm talking about cold. Make you change your... What is... This ain't Johnny Carson, motherfucker. I mean, it get cold when you go outside. The wind be waiting on your ass around the corner like this, waiting for you to come outside. You know what? Here you come. And that shit, boy, I came from California. I hadn't been home about 5 years. I went back home, and I had some summer shit like this, you know, and it was cold. That wind waited for me to get into the street. It didn't even do nothing while I was walking through the airport. As soon as I got outside, it was like, get your shit, put that shit up around your head. And you can't be prejudiced in the winter because it's too cold. Right? You be trying to find a doorway and shit. Hey, man, it's cold. Be prejudiced this summer. It's all right now. Bullshit. Bullshit. My dick. People in the audience get hostile. You drunk, motherfucker? Fuck it. Oh, yeah. I stopped drinking. I used to drink a lot. Stopped. Been 7 months. That's a strange. It's really strange. Huh?
I don't believe that shit.
Oh, you don't have to. I know you ain't gonna believe it because you fucked up. I don't. Hey. Shit. No, I just thought I'd try that for a while, you know, after 20 years. Give yourself a break. I'll probably die tomorrow. Trying to slow down, you know. But it's different.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Well.
He's had to tape it.
Yeah.
No, I just been through like a life. In your life, I guess you go through changes in your life, you know? You get one moment and you just fucking change. Something happened in my life, just fucking changed my mind about all the shit. Motherfucker, you go home, be fucked up.
How's your mama?
Well, how's my mama? I beg your pardon. I'll slap you in the mouth with my dick. One at a time, please. I'm gonna finish with this motherfucker asking me about my mama. Your mama.
Dude.
This is what I love about this clip. This is the 80s, right? Obviously it's the 80s. Every cut they do into the audience, it's mixed crowd. I think he was one of the original crossover talents, is what the industry anoints somebody that's black that can draw a white audience. But one of the first, I think, on a major scale, maybe like Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
Prior to, but Richard took it to a whole nother
Cosby.
level. Yeah, Cosby. Yeah, but you look at the crowd; it's so integrated there.
It was, and he might have been the first black entertainer.
Yeah.
That, and again, I don't want to, because I wasn't alive before that, but that came out and explained to white people what it was actually like, what the experience was like, as opposed to appeasing them. He didn't try to come out and make white people like him.
Yeah.
He just was himself, which is such a weird dynamic. The twist that he threw into stand-up comedy, from the, hey, what are you doing? You know, even Carlin was doing that yuckity yuck stuff.
Yeah, Carlin pivoted, obviously.
And then pivoted huge, but he did it too in the beginning, but then you could see.
For sure, yeah, you could see old clips of him being that kind of like Catskill style comic and then discovering his own voice.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he just went like punk rock, like completely. I mean, I just hope this isn't me because I don't want any of my stupid, ridiculous comedy to have to go after Richard Pryor. We're going to take a break.
That'll do it for this episode.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Yeah. Steve, good to see you.
Next episode, it'll just be Reno. But I think this is so good because you're watching somebody at a taping. He's doing a taping. He's getting heckled. And you could see him. He's sitting there going, keep it on track. And he's sitting there just kind of like, he's smiling to himself. And I think he's making a decision in that moment to, they'll edit it out. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I'm going to power through this. And then it gets to a point where it's like, no, I have to address this. Fuck this shit. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think when you're doing a taping, it's such a different mindset and pressure of, you've done there. And if you're getting heckled, you're going to try to keep it on the track, but he's getting fucking bamboozled there in New Orleans.
Yeah. Dude, I got heckled at filming a Comedy Central special. And I was in New York, and I said, I'm from West Virginia. Yeah. And this guy in the crowd's like, you guys screw your cousins. Like, and you only film one.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. And everybody laughed. Yeah. But it'll throw you. And it took me a second to go like, okay. Because I just thought I was going to go out there, wham, 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 wham. Sure, and then it was like, oh. And it's like Seinfeld said in that comedian thing, how big do you have to be to not get heckled?
Well, obviously, look, there's videos of Chappelle getting heckled. There are videos of Chappelle getting attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like there's no boundaries now anymore between audience and comic. And I think, when you saw that Will Smith incident happen, every comedy club had a security guard off to the side for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And then it was just like, oh, fuck that. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I
had an idea where you take the mic and at the bottom put the name of your club, like on one of those things that you sear your meat with. So if somebody comes up and you hit him in the face, you have free the improv. You know what I mean? Like bam, Zanies. What happened last night? I attacked a comedian, but
you sit. Yeah. We got another heckler.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Dreams come true for baby boy.
Dude,
Reno
I stopped
Collier.
putting things on YouTube. I took some stuff down just so I don't have to be on this thing.
All right, well, let's check this bad boy.
Oh, no.
I've been lucky lately.
Back in the 1960s when John F. Kennedy invented space or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? Like for like a couple thousand years, people playing connect the dots with the stars, and they're like, I see a Big Dipper, I see a kitty cat, I see a gladiator, whatever. John F. Kennedy's like, this is ridiculous. We have brilliant people in this world. They're called scientists, and I'm going to get them all together in one room and figure out a way to go check that out. So that's what he did. He got the smartest scientists, this von Braun dude from Germany, and all these American scientists. He gets them together, forms NASA, he gets them in a big room or whatever. He's like, all right, check this out. You're the smartest scientists in the world. We need to figure out a way to go check out outer space. It's up to you to do it. Go get them. What do you need? And I guess they're like, well, the scientists are like, well, guys, I mean, first of all, we're going to need a rocket ship. And I guess he's like, all right, cool, $1 billion. Pow, build a rocket ship. Here's why I didn't think everything through, because you remember what happened? They built a rocket ship. Then I guess after the ship's done, they're like, all right, boys, we got the ship done. Now, one of y'all get in there. And those dudes are like, I ain't getting in that thing. They're like, well, we built the ship. Now what are we supposed to do? And one of these scientists, brilliant, had to have said out loud, because somebody said, let's stick a monkey in there. And they're like, yay! A monkey. They picked a monkey. They chose a monkey. Not even steal some idiot off the side of the street and cram him in there. They picked a monkey. Is this coming out in Chinese? You understand what I'm saying? A monkey? Have you been to the zoo? Let's fire him in his face. He looks like he'll teach us something. The monkey's name was Coco or whatever, and they tricked him in there with Diet Pepsis and Skittles, or I don't know how they got him in there.
So stupid.
But I guess before takeoff, PETA found out about it because that monkey had a helmet on his head. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. We took a monkey with a helmet on his head and we fired him into outer space so he can come back and teach us about what he learned on his trip. All right, first of all, why does a monkey need a helmet? If a monkey hits his head on something, he just becomes more monkey. Welcome back from outer space, monkey. Tell us what you learned. Oh, Frank, he must have hit his head on something. He won't even talk to me. Second of all, every time I see an astronaut on TV, astronauts act like they're all full of themselves. If you're an astronaut, knock it off. You're doing a monkey's job.
That's a great line.
That's right.
That's a great line.
Yeah, you're second string to Coco. Then the Russian scientists are making fun of our scientists. Stupid Americans shoot the monkey to space. You know what they did? They fired a dog into outer space.
Did they really?
Yeah.
What does that even look like? The rocket ship's taking off. The windows open on the side. Dog's head's hanging out.
It's great, dude. It's great. Great bit.
Oh,
That
thank
is.
you. I hate watching myself.
But that end, it's almost like you see just the purity of joke writing and the strength of the jokes itself. To go full circle, it's almost like Foxworthy-esque. Like when you're watching it, you see Jeff's. It's just solid. Big laugh. It's the same thing with this one. That was great, dude.
Well, dude, I learned from watching him.
Yeah.
And a bunch of guys. Anthony Clarke.
Oh, sure.
Brian Regan. I mean, a lot of guys I used to watch come through the punchline and stuff like that. But thanks, dude. I hate freaking watching myself. Like it.
But I understand. All comics, we hate watching
Yeah.
ourselves. But you got to be proud of that bit. That bit's pretty awesome.
It's pretty good.
And there's some great lines in there. I mean,
And
the
I
one
had to keep it
lean over and
totally
go,
clean.
That's a great line. And then all of a sudden, huge applause break. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a great bit.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah. What were you going to say, though? Dry bar?
Yeah, I had to be super clean. Like, clean, like the stuff they took out, I thought was. And people complained about this special I did.
Right.
I did a thing about monkeys and evolution and all that stuff, and people went berserk. Like,
Yeah.
if you ever are bored, go look up my
We did
special.
it on one of the other specials, one of the other episodes. I forget. Which
The
one,
monkey
but we-
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the comments are the funniest thing. People are fighting over. I'm talking about monkeys sitting around a campfire.
Yeah.
Trying to, and people went berserk. You can't even do a dry bar clean thing.
And not
then
offend anybody.
People are like, this one lady goes, she goes, you don't know the whole story. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, it was in Huntsville, Alabama. And she goes, you're talking about Miss Baker. And I'm like, who's Miss Baker? Did I tell you this?
No.
I don't want to repeat myself. And I go, who's Miss Baker? And she goes, that was the weather monkey or whatever that got fired into space. And they had her funeral on TV when she died. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, we got out of school. I'm like, you got out of school for a monkey funeral? And she's like, I'm dead serious. She goes, she was married to Abel.
Yeah.
It was ABC. She was married to Abel. Abel died. Then they married the monkey to Charlie or whoever C is. And she goes, and Miss Baker wouldn't even wear the white veil during the wedding because she knew she'd already been married before. And I was like,
Wait,
I'm going to catch myself on fire. Yeah, like there was a monkey wedding and they showed it on TV because it's all based out of Huntsville. They have the freaking where she died.
Yeah.
And they have her thing, yeah, whatever, with the dead monkey in it.
Really? That's all there at the
yeah, and I'm
museum?
like, with the pallbearers, like you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what's a monkey funeral look like? I had a problem. It was probably the end of my first divorce, but there's a video of a monkey who sticks his finger up his butt and smells it and falls out of a tree. And I watched that video for like a year. Like,
dying laughing.
dude, I could not, because when I was a kid, you know how things change your life? The trajectory. I was like in second grade. We went to the zoo in DC, and there was a monkey, and he was playing with himself, and he pooped and threw it, and I never left that exhibit. And I was like, it changed. Like like some people, it's church. Or that was like I can't stop. I couldn't stop talking about it. My mom's like, stop talking about this. I draw pictures of it like in art class. Like the monkey's got his hand like this. I couldn't. They're so close to us but they're doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like
You were obsessed over it.
Dude, I could not stop, even to the point that like my mom was like, we're not going to the zoo. Like people would come, we live close to DC, and they're like, we want to go to the National Zoo.
Can I tell you about this? Reno, shut up about the goddamn zoo.
Yeah, because I would go, I do it now to the Nashville Zoo when I took my kids. I'm like, just wait, one of them is going to do it. My son and I are like, and my daughter's lost. Like, I can't take it.
Well, Reno Collier, Our guest, where can everybody keep up with you?
RenoCollierComedy.com.
There it is. You can catch him on Bob and Tom, and obviously you're touring constantly.
A ton, man.
And I love hanging out with you, man.
Dude,
I
you're the
always
best.
love
You're the best.
doing this with you, buddy.
Yeah, it's fun,
I truly
man.
do.
Sorry, I
thanks to
clammy-handed
Taylor.
you.
No, please, come on. And thank you guys very much for tuning in for another episode of Comedy Pinata. Thanks to Sue the Collector at SueTheCollector.com, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys very much. Easy.
Easy,